Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII Remake playthrough, where we learn that, for no apparent reason, they've installed not one but two energy drink potion vending machines on the roof of Shinra Tower.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes just you're a little pursed after.
It's like the Starbucks of the Final Fantasy universe. You can't go halfway across the same floor of your office building without finding another one.
Sit on the bench anyway.
Oh my god.
They both have the same discount items too, so you can get like double the items from these vending machines.
What is up with this game?
What a thrill!
Anyway,
in darkness,
because we're actually following Sephiroth this time, we get to climb up to the radio tower at the top of Shinra headquarters, which was a place that we never visited in the original. And hey, here's Sephiroth just standing up here with his clone.
Look, I get it. You want to be in Smash Brothers really bad.
And of course, like, the Whispers don't want Cloud to catch Sephiroth now. So they're like, hey, we're going to swoop around him and stop. And hey, we actually get a look at the clone that Sephiroth was controlling this time.
Don't drink the tap water.
Oh, now you go down faster.
It's interesting that they brought this element like straight up into your view, because in the original it was so obtuse that a lot of people don't actually realize that was what Sephiroth was doing the entire time, which is in its own way interesting. Kind of plays into the Lovecraftian elements in Genova's whole concept, but like I'm glad that we have a more like clear and concise version of that now, because I get to stop, because I don't have to argue with people anymore about whether or not that was actually what was happening in the original game.
Well, you see, it might have been canon in Remake, but in the original, it's never firmly established whether or not... Shit.
Wait, well, what happened to that nerd's counterpoint? He just kind of went into a Muppet.
He was a Muppet the entire time.
Oh. I like how the avalanche helicopter almost picks us up, but gets shot down Resident Evil 3 style by Rufus here.
If I may quote Squidward tentacles, oh no, he's hot.
Now,
This was always hot, though.
I like Rufus, his character model and all, but his character design is Nomura at his most Nomura.
Yeah, like, what the fuck
Wait,
is
who
this
was
code?
that guy? The guy that was just on screen for fun. Oh, is that Rufus?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Rufus.
So he's not just wearing a long coat like he used to. He's wearing long pant leg coats that have buttons that he leaves unbuttoned, and an extra set of belts on belts. The upper half of his coat is still what it should be, but
Yeah. But then you look down, I was like, what?
it's like, okay, Rufus decided that since it's a fresh new timeline, he's going to use the opportunity to be Dante from Devil May Cry.
I want to take the bottom half of my coat through a paper shredder. And then pull it out before it finishes the job.
So I really, really like this boss fight, like beyond.
Anything is better than the original battle, which was gun
So
go bang.
when I found out that Final Fantasy VII was going to be an action-based game that ended at the end of the Shinra Tower sequence, my first thought was, well, that's concerning, but at least the Rufus battle is gonna kick ass. And I was not disappointed, because the Rufus battle certainly kicks ass. One of the interesting
I still don't know how to do the Braver Instant thing on him.
Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about, so I don't know how to do that either.
Basically the game hints at various points where if you use a certain move at the right time, it'll instantly stagger him. You have to use Braver while he's reloading, and it will instantly stagger him.
Yeah, you see, you can. Yeah, I know that like you can hit him while he's reloading. It's one of his only vulnerable points. But like, okay, setting that aside for half a minute. One of my favorite things about this whole sequence is that they don't establish beforehand that Tifa stayed behind to watch Cloud, even though she still does. So it winds up being a bit of a surprise when she shows up later. But, like, we never find out what happens to those Shinra soldiers who ran after the group either, because Barrett and Aerith don't run into them. So, without actually being told, Tifa just soloed them. They dead. She beat them to shit. I like how you get a special counter if you do a Punisher counter on this guy when he on the Dark Star when it tries to pounce on you. But what I especially like about this boss battle is that in the first phase, which is the most difficult phase of it, by the way, Rufus and Darkstar actually work together. Like, if one of them hits you, the other will follow up. If you attack Darkstar, Rufus will rush in to try and get you off him. It's like they're actually functioning as a party here, which is good because Darkstar just kind of existed as a barrier bitch for Rufus in the original.
I was gonna say he was just strictly barrier bitch in the original battle.
And then you killed it and it was gone, and then you cast poison on Rufus, and Rufus was dead within a few turns.
What are we doing today, boss? Barrier bitch. Oh.
Rufus was
not again.
Rufus was dead within a few turns, which made it very confusing that he decided to fight you on his own. But here he's actually like quite a badass. He also gives us our first close-up look of Final Fantasy VII Guild coins, which is interesting. I
thought they were like Shinra Chuck E.
With
Cheese
his
tokens.
revolver ocelot ass, swingy ass.
I told you
Like-
it's Final Fantasy VII featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. They even got the
More Virgil.
Nah, he's definitely doing the coin flippy thing from DMC2. I wish I was kidding. Devil May Cry 2 is awful and you should never play it. Go after Darkstar first because he will heal Rufus. Oh, darn it. But this is... I said this was the most difficult part of the boss fight, and it really is, because it's hard to keep track of both of these guys at once, and they're both very aggressive. Also, you thought Steiner's magic sword was awesome. How about magic gun?
What?
I hope we get Rufus as a party member. He's awesome. Like, Darkstar can...
Oh, they'll probably give Vincent some magic gun property. Just
That would be cool. Darkstar casts lightning magic on Rufus's gun, which Rufus then turns into an attack against you. Kind of like the way Steiner would use Magic Sword in Final Fantasy IX if Vivi was in the party. So that's cool. But god damn it, like, once you stagger Darkstar, the challenge is to actually take advantage of it with any kind of damage at all, because Darkstar is just because like Rufus becomes super pissed off if you stagger Darkstar. He just goes after you nonstop. Also, like, Darkstar remains pressured after getting up for a little while, and then Rufus has to use that heal ability to get him to collect himself, which is cool. There's a lot of nuance to the way Rufus and Darkstar work together that just makes it really fun to play. Also, Darkstar is technically defeated before it dies, because Rufus calls him off. He doesn't want his pet dog to die in this timeline, I guess. So we're probably going to fight Rufus a few more times in future episodes. That would be cool. Rufus just sort of fights you once and then never again.
Helicopters away.
It's weird because it feels like they're setting Rufus up for some rival encounters in the future, but then it never happens.
Which is what you should have been in the original, if I'm being real.
Well, I like how the dialogue is like, Rufus is cocky, but he's not condescending. It's weird because Cloud's like, oh, it's on for real. And it's like, yeah, you should be on it. It's like, he's not talking down to Cloud, but he's being arrogant.
Well, he did have that one line where he said, "You're soldier," which would mean that I technically own you.
He admits that Cloud is making him sweat at one point, which is interesting. It's like Rufus isn't really fighting you right now because it's the best strategic course of action. He's fighting you right now because it's fun. It's like it's an interesting look at his character. Like, Rufus has always been one of the more interesting but understated characters in Final Fantasy VII. He's got a lot going on that you just don't get to explore.
No.
But now that Rufus is on his own, the difficult thing is to actually just hit him, because like because when he's not reloading, and sometimes even when he is, Rufus will counterattack, and yeah, he's pretty. I mean, is this what it feels like to be fighting Cloud? Jesus,
is this what I've been doing? God, I'm an asshole.
Anyway, the trick here is to just hit him with one big attack. Because Rufus, he's a pain in the ass to hit, but he doesn't have much health. In fact, I would go as far as to say that he's kind of just a really beefy, ordinary enemy when it comes to his HP count. So if you can hit him with your limit break, or God forbid, your second level limit break, you can wipe out most of his HP in one go.
You said God forbid?
Like, if you happen to hit him with Ascension, he's basically dead. He might still have some health left, but you'll have gotten rid of most of it. And he'll probably be staggered by the end of it. so you'll be able to finish him off real quick, which is exactly what happens
Yeah, like
here.
you could you could use your limit right now and take out probably almost all that.
The only trick is that because he's so mobile and hard to hit, you might just flat out miss him with your limit break. So, pick your shots, basically. Oof.
No, that's Rufus.
Like as long as you get the first hit on him, he'll be stunned until into hit.
Oh yes.
Like there
Even
you
if he
go.
backs
Once you got
off
the
like he
first.
tried to there, Ascension has good range too. So
Damn, look at that.
yeah, he's pretty much dead. Boom. And now
Plus he's staggered.
the coup de grace.
Blade burst. Yeah.
Boom.
I was kind of hoping he missed.
It's like, I'm through with you. Brrr, you're about to hit him on the head, and then he just jumps out of the way. It's like, you dumbass.
Man, Rufus lost his expensive custom gun. We just knocked it off the building. That thing is in pieces now. That's unfortunate. It's kind of like when... it actually kind of reminds me of when Cloud fought Kadaj in pretty much the same location. Knocks his sword right off the building. And it's like a really cool double katana from Rurouni Kenshin or something. Oh, well.
This is nothing. I can fall and live.
But yeah, Rufus actually gets the better of Cloud here at the end. And Cloud almost...
Oh, why are you? I was gonna say, why are you having trouble pulling yourself up now? You can lift that. You can jump 30 feet in that.
Because he doesn't want to drop his Buster Sword.
He's got like 4 others.
Tell him that. But, like, this is why they didn't actually show Tifa staying behind, so that out of nowhere, she can show up. And
she was just watching the entire time and didn't do...
It's
Yeah.
also a callback to the ending of the original.
in the original game... Oh, yeah, it is a callback to that. I forgot. Like, where Cloud saves Tifa in much the same manner. That's... Oh, cool. Yeah. But, like, in the original game, Tifa stayed behind while Barret, Aerith, and Red 13 took the elevator, so that it basically served no purpose but to get Tifa out of their party, so they were a 3-man party to fight the Heligunner and 100 Gunner. But here, they have her stay behind, but they don't show the scene where she says she's going to, just so that she can surprise you by saving Cloud's life.
Yeah, but then why not help Cloud fight Rufus?
Mono-y mono thing, I don't know. I like high elevator boss. One thing I actually would have liked is, obviously they don't do it because how the game works, but I actually kind of would have liked it if it stayed in the elevators.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be in the elevator.
Well, because your 2 party members, functionally speaking, are Barret and Aerith, aka the long-range fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, but then Red 13...
And Red 13 just does Red 13 things.
Red
basically.
13, well, he would have had to jump across the elevator, really.
Yeah, but the point is you could have technically done it.
They could have, but I don't really like the idea of it, because these elevators are not big. I don't like the idea of being stuck in that kind of claustrophobic... Oh, no. Wedge is dead. They're finally gonna...
You've had it good for too long.
Actually, we can.
I like how...
Actually, they can't because they're 0 and 2, trying to kill this asshole.
I like how Wedge is, like they're so worried about Wedge rushing to help Barret and Aerith win a fight that they were going to win anyway. Like, at this point, Whispers, you're just being petty.
Like, they could have done that at any point, right?
That's why I think Wedge is still alive.
I think...
You don't see him die.
I think
so,
it's implied
Yeah.
that the Whispers only actually respond to things that they sense are going to change events in a major way. So they have a lot of blind spots.
I was to say maybe Wedge going there, considering he's not exactly good at anything. Maybe him going there would have caused Barret and Aerith to lose.
That
Because now they're interested in trying to save Wedge from his stupid.
that's a likely and actually kind of funny possibility to consider. Like, they spend so much time watching Wedge's ass through the fight that, I don't know, Aerith gets shot before she can use the holy materia. Who knows?
I love how this fucking tank has like those little those juicer things for wheels.
Anyway, for this battle, because Aerith is already filling the long distance niche, it's the rare occasion when Aerith and Barret are in the same party at the same time, I decided to switch Barret's EKG cannon over to the Wrecking Ball, which makes the first part of this battle actually quite a bit harder than I was expecting, because before you can wail on the actual boss, you have to take down its stupid barrier drones. Fuck
And that's
those
why I don't do that.
fucking barrier drones. But once you take them down, Barrett with his melee weapon can lay on some serious pain on this boss. So it is a viable tactic. You just have to use magic to take down the barrier drones. Unfortunately,
The battle's front-loaded, though, as a result.
yeah, it is kind of front-loaded. But, you know, once the barrier drones are down, it actually doesn't take too long. Which is good, because the boss actually gets a ton more aggressive once the barrier drones are down. So you actually do want to take it down fast once that's happened. Anyway, so weapon upgrades, because I haven't used the wrecking ball in a while. Normally, when I'm playing this game on my own time, I'd upgrade all my weapons like whenever I have any points to spend. But because I was recording,
We're in menus enough as it is.
yeah, because I was recording, I left a lot of my weapons unupgraded, and as a result, I've got a lot of unused points on all of my characters. Because like, I love having these weapon options, but just like in Final Fantasy XIII, once I land on the weapon that I think fits the balance for the playstyle I want a character to follow, I stick to that weapon and just upgrade that one for the most part. So like with Lightning in Final Fantasy XIII, because Lightning is best as an all-rounder with good offense and good magic, just stick with their default weapon forever. There's no reason to ever switch her to any of the other weapons you find for her. And for a similar logic, that's why I stick Cloud with the Buster Sword. The only downside to sticking with the Buster Sword in 7 Remake is that the Buster Sword is actually one of the weaker swords in terms of materia slot gains. Like, it will eventually reach 6 slots with 3 linked pairs, just like every other weapon in the game, but it happens far later in the Buster Sword's growth curve. So, yeah.
Oh, by all means, take your time.
I just realized that at some point during the last few battles, Aerith learned the last of her weapon skills, so I can finally switch her back to the weapon with the highest magic stat, which is the best way to play Aerith, because she does her best work when she can lay down the arcane wards and just nuke the opposition with 3rd-tier spells.
Is this a remix of just the boss theme?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different variation of it. Yeah.
Okay, because I thought I recognized it, but it sounded weird to me for some reason.
It's interesting that they chose the boss theme for this fight, because you didn't get the boss theme when you were fighting Hunter Gunner and Hella Gunner in the original. You just got the regular battle theme while you're on the elevator. Because like they didn't want to overuse the boss theme, so you got the regular battle theme for this, and then you did the motorcycle chase, and then you fought Motorball, and that got the boss theme.
Yeah.
So it was like a...
I didn't think it'd be overusing it though. Just to go back to the original, I
Well-
thought, you know, it's a boss. It's clearly a boss.
Well, it was a 3 boss rush in the original.
Yeah.
It was a mad dash to escape. Aerith... Oh.
I'm okay.
Nope, the fuck out of there.
I was hoping Aerith would like actually defend herself if I left her to the AI, but it didn't happen.
I gotta protect the planet now.
Mango wango.
Go, Wango.
Oh no. Okay, this boss has an annoying ability to just lay down this barrier that repels you if you walk into it. It laid the barrier down on top of my arcane ward. God damn it! I wonder if it's programmed to do that or if it was just a funny coincidence.
The Black Mage ley line problem.
I'm sorry, ley line. What?
Ley lines in 14.
There goes Aerith again.
You want to? So in Final Fantasy 14, Black Mage gets a skill called Ley Lines, where as long as you're inside the arcane ward, your spell speed dramatically is reduced.
Oh, really?
So you can cast more spells in a certain time. However, far too often you'll see with the Black Mages that they'll cast their Ley Lines and they get targeted for an AoE, which drops a puddle where they are, and your Ley Lines are on top of that puddle, which you cannot stand in now.
Oh.
So rip Ley Lines.
So, John,
Oops.
you know those pictures of Final Fantasy, not Final Fantasy necessarily, but like MMO like battles where it's just like lights and circles and you can't actually see what's going on. How accurate is that for Final Fantasy 14? Or
If you leave battle effects turned on for the entire Alliance raid, absolutely accurate.
okay,
Yeah.
Which is why I turn them off.
but that's like
'Cause I
turning
can't sit-
off animations in Pokemon. It's like, okay, yes,
Listen,
the
I have-
animations are
alright, so
slow in Gen
personally-
4, but turning them off doesn't make the game better.
So personally, I have battle effects limited because I like to see some things. I don't like to see everything because I'm sorry. There are times where it's like It's clearly about the aesthetic of the class over the viability of being able to see shit.
It's one of those things where in MMOs typically you have the option to turn off other players' effects but leave your own on, which can be helpful if you're playing a massive multiplayer situation where like a bajillion players are doing things all at once. Then again, if MMORPGs hadn't taken this World of Warcraft track where everything has to be happening at lightning speed, we might not have that issue. Like, you know.
Oh, Lewis, doing things different than World of Warcraft. What kind of nonsense are you saying?
Crazy idea, but people might actually have time to type out short messages to each other in the middle of battle and communicate team strategies and stuff. But, you know.
I've had battle effects turned on for the longest time during my 14 experience until I started doing Eureka, which was introduced in Stormblood. And that instance allowed for 144 players. So 144 players doing all the flashy spells to that one miniature bear.
Oh, boy.
Became a little much. And that's when I finally turned it on limited.
Oh, boy. I'd love to see like the raid that actually like has one of those tanks who just gathers up a massive train of mobs throughout the entire dungeon and then unleashes everyone and then has everyone unleash their AoEs. Like with 144 people in that situation, that would be a sight to see. Like
if your computer doesn't
if
melt.
your computer doesn't melt, it will. But like, man. I know this is an odd time to bring it up, but since we're on the subject of 14, I know that 14 1.0 was pretty shit, and I know from hard experience that damn, Barrett's dead again. I know from hard experience that Final Fantasy XI is kind of a chore to play, but I kind of wish that like they would go back to exploring the Final Fantasy XI style of play and try to do it good.
Not so much the. So this was brought up a couple of days ago at a live stream, but I'm not interested in how 14 originally played or how 11 plays because I just don't. Well, first I don't have the time to sync for 2 MMOs for one thing. But I always was interested in exploring 14's 1.0 world.
Oh well,
like I wanted to see Gridania and Limsa and Thanalan before the Calamity.
Well, the world is one thing. I'm talking more about combat. Because in Final Fantasy XI, a lot of it's a very slow plotting game. So when you're playing solo, it's not very fun, to be honest. The game is geared around characters doing things with enough of a gap between actions that you can communicate with each other. Because that was the kind of game an MMO had to be back at the time. It had to be focused on multiplayer, team play stuff.
Where it had to like queue a lot of stuff, you mean?
Like, it's so that you can be like, I'm going to do my attack. Attack happens.
You're not running. Okay, in Final Fantasy XIV, you're running through like the same 4 or 5 actions over and over, and sometimes you mix in action number 6 or 7 if its cooldown is available. But like in Final Fantasy XI, a lot of your special abilities took maybe 10 minutes to an hour to actually cool down. So you would only use them once every so often, rather than going through the same rotation every 20 seconds. So a lot of the gameplay was more focused on doing regular actions like attacking. And instead of neatly fitting into the DPS or tank or healer class, like if you were something like a ninja or a red mage, you'd have a more unique role in battle. If you were a ninja, you could evasion tank rather than DPSing. You could do more than one thing, heaven forbid. So, and that comes with a lot of unbalance because obviously early MMORPGs, not the best well-designed things, but I feel like if they revisited some of those principles and, you know, refined them with what we know about modern game design now, they could do them really, really well. And that's my hang-up. I wish some MMOs would go back to that mentality and try to maybe modernize them and explore them. Because, like, every time someone declares an old style of gameplay too archaic to bother with in the modern day, some fucking genius creates something like A Hat in Time or Resident Evil Remake 2 and brings back those mentalities with modern design elements and basically shows us that it's not so much that it was too archaic to bother with, you just didn't bother with it. You know?
That's the thing for a lot of Like
This is funny.
It goes beyond just those like Doom. Like people thought that a first-person shooter in that style, like everybody thought that first-person shooters needed to be like Call of Duty in order to do well, and Doom Eternal basically said, "Nah, you can do the 90s-ish kind of style. You just got to do it right."
That's another good example. Doom and new Wolfenstein and Shadow Warrior 2013.
A lot of people say that Dragon Quest XI is similar in that Dragon Quest XI is like, oh, you can do turn-based RPGs, you just have to do them right. And I'm like, Dragon Quest XI is great, but there have been good JRPGs that are turn-based this entire time. You just don't pay attention to them.
Dragon Quest has been doing that since forever.
Yeah, it's just like you paid attention to this one for some reason.
I mean, it's not just Dragon Quest. There's those Bravely Default games.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. It's just like for some reason everybody was like, oh.
Well, no, that's more Square's problem, where it's like, okay, this is a one turn-based RPG every 2 years or so, and then, oh, look, it did really well, and we're really surprised. It's like, why are you surprised?
To be fair, like the games between Dragon Quest VIII and Dragon Quest XI kind of went unnoticed by the console fan base in particular, especially here in the West, where we don't pay much attention.
Well,
to
I mean, Dragon Quest IX is the most successful game in the series.
Yeah, but it's not successful with console RPG fans. Because it's not a console RPG. It's a handheld game. And then the game after 9 was what, an MMO?
Yeah, which we still have not got, and the fan base is delusional that we will get. But
as far as console fans go, though, we didn't get a good Dragon Quest game on consoles between 8 and 11.
Come out on
so,
PS2? I was going to say 8 was PS2, right?
Yeah, so as far as console Dragon Quest goes, it basically skipped a whole generation. So it's not really surprising that Dragon Quest XI caught people off guard, because Dragon Quest VIII happened, and that was popular enough in the West for Dragon Quest, but then the console RPG fan base that it might have caught the attention of around that time didn't get another Dragon Quest for a whole generation afterward. So it's not really surprising that, in a way, Square somehow managed to create an opportunity for themselves to popularize Dragon Quest in the West and then totally miss that opportunity by not making another console game. Ooh. Then again, Square was pretty much on crack around that time, so I'm not surprised.
Square in making good decisions is just not their MO.
Here's a pro tip. Let Barrett get hit by this one. Just stay out in the open and let him get hit. You see Barrett's limit bar is completely empty because he just used Catastrophe, right? Limit break. It does that much damage in one go.
Well, I mean, I would hope you get a limit break.
It does that much damage all in one go. So let him get knocked out, Phoenix down him, and then immediately Catastrophe again. I'm actually going to try and stagger this guy before I use Catastrophe again, but it's not working because the stagger bar isn't going up for some reason. I don't know why.
I think I did use that strategy, though, in a different Final Fantasy. I can't remember which one, but it's just like, okay, this attack's going to absolutely murder everybody.
Oh, I would
just have them be dead and then revive them right after, like have someone queued up to immediately revive them. If
I think in the original game, if they died, they'd lose their limit break bar completely. But I'm not sure.
Just use Catastrophe.
Yeah, I think in OG7, your limit break dropped to 0. Somebody died.
But like, okay, in Final Fantasy VII, I absolutely did attack Guard Scorpion on purpose to get the laser to shoot my characters so that I could limit break faster. So it's not a strategy that you can ignore.
Barrett.
Damn it!
Barrett, if you can get up, baby.
Damn it! I wanted to use Catastrophe, but he got staggered right before he had a chance to pull it off.
Nope, you got it though. Nope.
It has to transition to the last phase though, so it doesn't get all the damage.
I really wish Part 2 would stops doing that kind of thing, like no selling your damage just because you happen to hit a milestone that was completely invisible to you. Like, I don't care if they have to give a boss multiple fucking health bars just to indicate where the milestones are. But, like, having one health bar that just...
Or at least let damage carry over.
Let damage carry over, yes. In fact, make that a reward for efficient play. Let us skip entire phases of a boss. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see all the cutscenes. If I can completely no-sell a boss on their fancy transition animation, let me do it. That would be amazing. I'll Sonic the fucking Hedgehog Final Fantasy bosses.
And run away.
I meant that thing you can do in a lot of Sonic bosses where, like, during boss transition animations or intro animations, you can just cheap shot them over and over. Like, they're, like, you know how in Sonic 2, when you're fighting the aquatic ruin boss, if you're smart, you can just jump on top of the rising pillars as they're rising out of the ground and then get the boss like 3 or 4 times before it starts its attack pattern. That was freaking legit. That kind of stuff was exhilarating to pull off.
I always think of the flying battery boss specifically because like he drops down and like he swings up and down for a little bit. You can hit him like 4 times before he's ready to start attacking.
Yeah, it's great. It's a little awkward as Knuckles because he's already shooting fire out of his out of the top of the mech when he comes down though.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about there. The game sort of sucker punches you if you think you know what you're doing there. But yeah, this is an interesting change-up because, like, okay, the team very sensibly got the fuck out of Dodge.
Barrett. That's a ball.
I'll shoot you with my wrecking ball. Actually, that would be painful. I'd like to see that happen. But
anyway,
like the party very sensibly got the fuck out of Dodge when Rufus showed up earlier, so they didn't get to have their funny little introduction scene where Rufus asks who they are. So instead, they have Heidegger show up here, and he essentially asks them the same thing. And although Cloud and Tifa aren't here for that, it's still just as funny with Barrett introducing himself, and then Red and Aerith following that up with their own silly introductions. And it makes more sense to do this with Heidegger because Heidegger's an intrinsically sillier character. Whereas I think the one-on-one byplay between Rufus and Cloud was more appropriate without any of the weird one-liners. So, just a little reshuffling of some familiar stuff. Heidegger being here also leads to a pretty funny punchline when Cloud shows up.
We have them surrounded, sir.
Yes.
Yes, I can see that. No shit. I hope we see a lot more of Heidegger in future episodes because, like,
I think they're gonna have a lot more significance in the Wu-Tai stuff.
oh yeah, that would be cool. He doesn't even show up in the Wu-Tai stuff originally, though.
I actually love how Red 13 embraces the lab rat dog.
Lab rat dog. Where are the rest of you? Up your ass.
Oh, that's what they were. All right, give me a second.
I thought he had a stick up his ass, but it turns out it was Cloud's sword. That's even worse.
It's got 3 materials.
Inexplicably, because Barrett actually does have to do some shooting in this cutscene, it does like just randomly switch his weapon back to Gatling gun if you happen to have something like the wrecking ball.
Kind of hoping to keep the wrecking ball. Just shoot it right at Heidegger's face.
Look, there he is. Just suddenly, Gatling gun. Like he had the wrecking ball on his arm in the smash cut directly before that, but now it's the Gatling gun. I guess they chose that cut to change it because like you're far enough away from Barrett that you don't immediately notice it. All right. Oh man.
Why was there gas in that motorcycle?
We get to
Why was there gas in that motorcycle?
Oh, you know how car dealerships are. They let customers take their cars and vehicles out for test
Not
drives.
the ones on the show floor.
In a fucking building?
Not in the building, no, but they drive it out and let the customer who wants to buy
they
it
kept the stupid
drive it down the road.
stupid three-wheeler.
The stupid three-wheeler, yeah. The frickin' boat truck. Like the back of the tricycle truck looks like it's a goddamn rowboat. It's great. I'm glad they didn't change this. It's like these stylistic choices are what make Final Fantasy VII feel like a fantasy world as opposed to a modern take on fantasy, which is what 15
Hey
was
Heidegger, bite my shiny metal ass.
like. Indeed.
Give it a kiss.
I like this shot here. He's just like, ooh. He winces like it comes that close.
Major blank.
The Devil May Cry has infected Cloud. Rufus has infected him. It's happening. This is where the transition begins from Final Fantasy VII.
Could you
to
even
Advent
drive a
Children.
motorcycle upstairs with carpet?
Yeah.
Oh, sure you can.
Probably.
Yeah. You go up a couple. No, I think you go downstairs in the original, and then you just crash through the
Don't
window.
underestimate the amount of traction that rubber is capable of
Oh, hey,
on pretty
Kunsel.
much any surface.
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, yeah. If that was Kunsel, I'd like laugh my fucking ass off.
Get out of the way.
I will say that broken glass is one of the things that doesn't look quite so good in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like the graphical effect isn't all the way there. Maybe they'll improve it in the PS5 version, but this shot is excellent. Ah, man.
Breaking barriers.
And the cars are still operational.
Somehow.
The motorcycle's
the shock
sure,
suspension is.
but like the
Shinra's top tier shock absorbers at work.
Yeah.
but like the whatever that thing is.
The tricycle truck, yes.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Yeah, that one should be gone. But,